I like how you just go, I don't know what that means. More, like, that's good, that's your ego gone.
Yeah, I don't, like, that's what I mean, if I don't know something, I'll be like, I you know, I won't try and make out like I do, because it's, you know, there's more value in being...
Knowing.
Yeah, in being a beginner, you know, well, not so much a beginner, but being a student, you know what I mean? We're either,
Every day's learning day.
yeah, we're either a student or we're a teacher at one point in our life, and I think we always fluctuate back and forth, but when we become a teacher, we start to, you know, and we're telling people about different things or helping people in that, you know, in that sense, we almost, I think the ego kicks into a certain point where we don't feel like we want to take on new information.
Yeah.
Then, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the expert novice gap, like.
Yeah, that's it. Right then. Well, I think we're live now, so thank you for coming on the podcast, Emily.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ryan.
Cheers, yeah.
Cheers.
We're actually drinking beer this time. I'm drinking beer.
We are. Well, I've got, you'll just pretend that there's something other than ice in it.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. And if you want to just tell everybody who's listening and watching and stuff like that who you are, and, you know, tell us a little bit about you and stuff.
Thanks. My name is Emily Fender. So by trade, I am a mental health nurse. I went to Swansea University, where you currently work. That's down in the bay by the sea there. I qualified 2 years ago, so I worked for the NHS for a year. I had a baptism of fire into the NHS. I did like a rotational post, so I went straight out into the community, was a CPN, community psych nurse. Then I did some work with the crisis team, which is, as it sounds, as you'd imagine. Yeah, so like, you know, you turn up at A&E, you assess people who are having a mental health crisis. Did some work on the ward, which I loved. But previously to, you know, doing my nurse training and being a nurse, like I was self-employed before. And when you've got that like entrepreneurial, whatever, spirit in you, it just doesn't go away. So like, I was self-employed at a young age, I was then bankrupt at a young age, and then, you know, it led to like this whole journey. And I went and got a proper job, as my nan said. I got a proper job, and it was just there, nagging away. So I was like, right, I've got a nurse degree. I want to work on my own terms and live my life how I want to and how it looks to me, what's right. So I was like, right, how can I use my nurse degree to get there again? So that's where we're at now.
I was going to say, what were you doing before the business? I didn't know about this.
So, oh God. So when I was 19, I thought it was a really good idea to buy a pub.
Right.
Like, newsflash, it wasn't.
Yeah.
we then, after 6 months of owning it, we went into a double dip recession.
Okay.
So yeah, it wasn't a great experience, but it was at the same time. Basically, it accumulated in me having a massive mental breakdown. I was like anxious, depressed, suicidal, really, really unwell. But, and you'll like this, made me a much better person. So like, going through all that shit just made me nicer, kinder, more empathetic, like more chilled out about things that I can't control, I guess. Which then led me on the journey to doing my mental health training. Okay,
yeah, it's good. Do you know what? It's interesting you said that. Like, it is often the bad roads and the shit that goes on, you know, in our lives, which defines us and who we are and what we do and stuff like that. You know, yeah. So I get that. That's good. So how long have you been doing it? Do you say the mental health nursing?
So I've been qualified for 2 years
for 2
now.
Years.
Yeah,
okay.
I left the NHS, as my Facebook memories reminded me the other day. I left the NHS a year ago to start our own company.
Yeah.
So it's called Empower Support, and the global pandemic that we're currently in the midst of really derailed sort of our plans for the year, as it did pretty much everything and everybody. But like, you know, I'm just annoyingly positive. So, you know, it'll all work out. I know it will. Like, I know in my heart and in my belly, like, I know it'll be fine. Which, you know, when you talk to your accountants, and I'm like, I know in my heart and my belly it'll be fine. They're like, yeah, we need a little bit more than that.
Yeah, that is the trouble. I think when you're trying to talk to somebody who is, you know, data driven or logic driven.
Yeah, there's no logic up here, right?
No, yeah, I think you have got to be a dreamer, haven't you? I think that's, if you weren't a dreamer, like, you know, and have that sort of personality about you, you probably wouldn't have done half of the stuff that you've done.
When you're not a dreamer, when your life is a nightmare, you can't see out of it, can you? And like at the minute, you know, we're making progress slowly, and getting there. We're just keeping on, because when you've hit rock bottom, which you did before, like your only option is to carry on. What's your option? Carry on. So like slowly we're getting there. Got an incredible team.
So what is it actually? Obviously, I know what it is, but if you just want to explain to the people listening, stuff, what's the whole concept behind it? What are you doing? You know. Yeah,
the mission was for me to not have to work 40 hours a week until I'm 70. You know. So like the mission statement, like the values of Empower, is that everybody deserves to feel that they belong. Belong in the community, belong in society, belong to a family, in inverted commas, or whatever that looks. So like our whole mission is to take people who have become institutionalized, who live in an institution, you know, like a psychiatric hospital, a low secure unit, or a prison, that have got mental illness, and repatriate them, you know, back into the community, provide them with like high spec accommodation, which like my idea is, if I wouldn't live there, or if I wouldn't stay there, if it was a hotel, I'd want someone else to stay there, and provide them with support. We also provide people with support in their own homes. So, you know, we've got a couple of clients on our books now, take them shopping, take them out and about, and COVID rules, you know, allowing, and just and just really like get them back on track and make them feel like worthy and empowered. Like we want to support them to feel empowered. You can see where the name come from there. To make choices about their own life, and to just feel like they're not their illness, that they've got this label but it doesn't define them.
I love that you said that, actually, right? Labeling is a big thing, and I always talk about this as Aaron, because like, you know, if you are somebody who is, let's say, like, for example, you're somebody who's committed a crime, you're seen as a criminal a lot of the time. You're a criminal, or a prisoner, or whatever it is, do you know what I mean? So if you do end up going to prison for it, you're seen as a prisoner, and that is a label in itself. That is one of the most difficult things to overcome, because I think people will, they identify with that then. So if they're saying, I'm a criminal, for example, you know, you identify with what regular personality traits, or what you believe to be a criminal almost. You start to become that person, and I think that's why reoffending is a big thing. You know, whereas if you, like you said, what you're doing with there is you're giving them connection. That's another point you mentioned about family. You know, connection is one of the key reasons that in my opinion, that why people are kind of depressed or anxious and things like that. Not all the cases, but you know, a lot of the time it is a lack of connection. So either it's a lack of connection to perhaps, you know, parents, or just friends and family and whatever, like, or, you know, if it's, I don't know, if it's trust issues, you know, you can't trust other people, you know, you're literally pulling yourself back from them, and then again, it's a connection issue. So I think that it does account for a lot of stuff. There's a book I've got in the house, I don't know if you've read it, Lost Connections, by Johann Hari.
Oh no, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I haven't read it myself, but I've you know, I've like read a lot of his stuff. He's done a TED Talks on there as well, and my friend Sarah Maxwell, she's big on the, you know, the same sort of stuff that I am, and she's read that book, and she can't, you know, she loved it. You know, it was very interesting. He's talking about why connections or lack of connections can be a kind of a leading cause in depression. Oh,
absolutely. Like we're not designed to live on our own. Like we are still cavemen. We have nicer shoes and better tech. Like that. We're just cave people. Like our brain, all these hundreds, I'm not really good at history, all these hundreds of millions of thousands of years where we've evolved, like our physiology hasn't evolved. Our brain hasn't changed. We're not designed to live in this world of 24-hour news, of constant cortisol and adrenaline and fight and flight. Like that response was designed for running away from tigers, not for scrolling on Facebook.
And dopamine as well, the dopamine hits we get constantly from the notifications.
Oh, have you watched that social?
I've watched it. You know what? I've watched a small part of it.
I'd turn it off.
Yeah, I've watched a small part of it. I know somebody, actually, one of the boys, Sam, He's just literally today. He's just put a post up saying, if you want to get in touch with me,
And delete my Facebook.
Yeah, he's deleting his Facebook, his Instagram, everything. He's literally just leaving WhatsApp left for a month or something.
Me and my other half watched it, and he was like, see, I've been telling you, because like, I wrote my dissertation on why social media was bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's false connection. So we need real human connection. We need this. We need proper conversations, a proper support network. So I deleted all my social media when I had my, and I'm going to say spectacular breakdown. Like, it was go hard or go home. Do you know what I mean? Like, girl didn't wash her face for about 4 months. Like, I was really ill. So I deleted everything because I just wanted the world to swallow me up. I was ashamed of myself. How could I let this happen? La 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 la. All this nonsense we tell ourselves. So I deleted it then, went to uni, opened another business. So I've got an aesthetics clinic where we do like Botox fillers.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Opened it and went, oh, I'm going to customers. Oh wait, I need Facebook and Instagram to get customers. And then, ironically, I put up a post on Facebook saying, I'm back in business, I want to make some like-minded connections, does anyone want to go for a coffee? And it went a bit viral in Swansea, and that's where Girl Boss Club, which is like a female network I run, come from. So we meet here monthly, not now, but we meet monthly, and it's like a massive following. So like, I use social media as a tool to make connections. Like, I'm constantly on there, but I'm trying to be mindful to produce content instead of consuming content.
Yeah.
And it is the main reason, or probably the only reason, me and my partner clash. Get off your phone, Emily.
Yeah.
Get off your phone. Why do you feel the need to take a picture of that? Why do you feel the need to share that? And it's so inflammatory, and we are not designed to cope with it.
Yeah.
So I should probably read my own dissertation again and just delete it all. But no, we watched that the other night, and he was like, oh my God, like I told you, like, it's not an accident that it's addictive. It's on purpose. And it's because people are making so much money off the adverts and stuff. So you have to be super mindful that you're not trading real life connection for false, look how many likes, followers, shares, messages I've got.
Do you know what? I like you said that actually. You're not trading real time or real connections for
something that's not tangible,
superficial, artificial. You know,
it's ego driven. It's a vanity metric, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get sucked into.
Have you seen what they're on about doing now? I don't know if this has been implemented, but they were talking about Instagram. What was it? I think they're going to put a thing on a post. So if a post is edited, it's going to say it's edited. You know, I think they were talking about that.
What, like the filter,
yes.
is it? Yeah.
That's it. So if somebody's putting a filter on it, or even if they take a photo and edit it before they put it on Instagram, they'd use artificial intelligence, I think, to know, you know, if that photo is edited based on the contrasts and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it would tell people then, and I think that I think it's a really good idea as it happens, because it might take it'll take a hit on the ego of the people who are posting the edited photos. So it's a bit of a dangerous game there, but I do think it will allow people who already, people who are seeing photos of, like, he or she on Instagram, and they got the abs, they got all this and that or whatever. Like, you look at it and you go, that's edited. But I think when it says it's edited on it already, I think it does allow you to realise a little bit more, especially the younger generation, that is not what everybody looks like.
No, you're comparing yourself to something that is not real.
Yeah, James Smith talks about it. Have you come across James Smith at all?
No, I haven't heard
James
of him.
Smith PT, right? He's from England, but he's
I think I've seen it, and he does the real life versus Insta. Is it them ones?
No, he's he was originally like a personal trainer who's like pretty much his thing is calorie deficit. He just slags every other diet off, and he just says calorie deficit. And but he's,
my trainer says that. I'm like, fix me. She's like, calorie deficit, exercise. I'm like, no,
no,
quick.
But he's literally like he's very straight talking as well, which is what
I have seen his post. And we need more of that, because that is that's true. Like, and the filters, the highlights reel, if you're sitting in your house miserable and you're using this to numb or to distract or, you know, to just mindlessly scroll, because it is mindless, and I lose hours.
Oh god, yeah,
hours.
So many hours, you know, literally so many hours a week. I don't even. I
you just
clue.
It's the rabbit hole. You're there and you're scrolling, but you're comparing yourself to something that doesn't exist, and you're sitting there in your deepest, darkest, painful moment, looking at someone's. Oh my god, me and all my friends, or me and I'm having the best time ever. But like until you know that that's not true, and they're only showing you what you want to see, and you're seeing the worst part in yourself. You're comparing your darkness to someone else's highlights, and a real eye-opener for me. So a massive pinch point of mine is not having any friends. Massive trigger for me. Like, I was really badly bullied in school, and it's a huge trigger, and it's something I've spent a lot of time and money and hours working on, and I'm like healed. Like, I would say, like, I can look at it objectively now, whereas I used to get embroiled in it before. So like, I've done a lot of coaching, counselling around it, I've done a lot of healing around it, and a lot of journaling, and just really worked hard to, like, not be upset. Like, that's not true.
Consumed by it. Consumed by the idea of it.
Consumed. So, like, I would always look at, like, big groups of girls that have gone right through school together, or, like, on a night out, like, #cocktails with my girls, and I would just feel, in my belly, like, jealousy, like, I wish I had that. Got no, like, backstory with my friends, but now I realise someone you've met a year ago, or however, you know, someone who's been in your life a small amount of time can have better intentions for you and can be better for you than someone you've known all your life. But my biggest, like, look moment was all these girls on a night out, and I was just watching them, I was thinking, oh, they look nice, like, I like your top, whatever. And then I was talking, and I looked again, and they were like, just filming their entire night to put on, like, Instagram, and then, like, blah blah blah, like this, and doing all the selfies and filming around the table, and then back to nothing. So it was like, cameras like, oh, we're having the best time ever, cameras away, back to no chat, nothing. And then one of the girls went to the toilet, and all her friends were like, oh my god, I can't believe what she's wearing, oh my god, blah 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 blah, like, really, like, slagging her off. And I was just like, if I just seen that like on my feed on Sunday morning, like, cocktails with the girlies, I'd have been like, oh, I wish I had a big group of girlfriends to go out like that, and like, oh, they must have had the best night, because I was witnessing it. I was thinking, I'm comparing what I perceive to not have with something that's fake. And then when I look at the actual people that I've got in my life that will do anything for me, and that are amazing friends, like, we were homeless in a pandemic, and my friend went, come live with us, like that.
I love that. Those are the type of people you need around you.
Like, not 100%. Even a hesitation. We were like, oh my god, what are we going to do? So we sold our house, like, we had to get out, we'd signed the contract, and then they didn't release our mortgage, and they said, a week, 2 weeks, and then we went into lockdown. So I was like, we'll have to get, like, an Airbnb for, like, 2 weeks. My friend was just like, my friend Becky, who I met at Girl Boss, known her like a year, was just like, move in with us for 2 weeks. We stayed there for 21 weeks, and they did not blink. They did not blink an eye. They were like welcoming, like, couldn't have been better friends. And I just think, you haven't got to be going on these elaborate nights out. You haven't got, you know, friends that have got your back, like, in the real world, like. You know, we're really close with, like, my cousin and his wife, and, like, all the time they're like, everything okay, how's the business going, like, genuinely want to know and want to support us and want to help us, and you just think that is worth more than 100.
And you know what, this is the
friends.
That's essentially what I'm guessing why you set up Girl Boss Club to a certain extent, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Actually getting people together and meeting new people that are like-minded. It's just exactly the same reason with me and Ideas and Beers, you know.
Find your tribe.
Yeah.
Find your tribe, and if you're looking around and all you see is, like, veneers of people, and you just can't have anything but, like, a superficial conversation with them, like, put it out there that you want to make new friends. And I think there's such a big stigma around going, does anyone want to be my friend as an adult? Like, when I was a kid, I'd walk up to people in the park like, do you want to play with me? Would you not? are.
Yeah,
Do you want to play football? Like,
yeah, do you know what? I was like you as well. I was like kind of bullied when I was in school, but I would say I'm a lot more sociable now than I was, as a kid. I was the kind of person who I think I was a bit of a sheep when I was younger. So I'd kind of, I didn't have an identity of my own almost. I think I just kind of followed what other people were doing,
safe,
almost
man.
playing it safe.
Safe.
Yeah, and as I've got older, my friends can be a testament to this. They have seen me go from doing all of the kind of the like lad stuff you do and whatever, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden randomly I went off and I set up a business like nobody in my family has ever set up a business.
Yeah.
None of my friends had at that point. At like very young age, and that was the kind of the start of the journey then, of my own journey where I'm going off on my own doing other stuff. And in the recent years, in recent months as well, especially, I don't care about what people think of me anymore, whereas that used to be a big issue.
Good place to be. It's a good place to be. I would say from being bullied. So I was bullied quite badly in school. I was really ill, so I was in a wheelchair when I was in school for the last year, and then I left. So I did year 7, year 8, ill in year 9, went a bit, and then my parents were like, that's enough, we're taking it. So mine has always been driven from a place of please like me, like me, please be my friend. But now I'm more comfortable in like, I'm myself, like I accept myself and I like myself, and I'm not overly worried about being like I think when you think yourself, like I've got a nice heart, I've got good values, whatever, like this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is the life I want to live, like if that's in tune with you, excellent. Like I'm not trying to drag you down, you're not trying to drag me down, fine. But I think actively seeking out people who encourage you and want to see you do well and clap when you win and like what encourage you to level up. So like I look around rooms that I'm in sometimes and I'm like, who let me in here? Because but you shouldn't be the cleverest person or the.
I was just gonna say about that.
In the room, you should always be surrounded by people who you look at and think, yeah, I want to be more like you. I want to think like that. Or I think I deserve that in my life. And I think if you get that mindset, it's like a moral duty to pass that on to other people who don't feel like that then. Encourage other people.
And I do think it's important, right? So like to put yourself in a room, like you said, where it's forcing you to level up, but not at the expense of your own kind of like mental health and stuff like that. So if it's something, if you feel inferior or if you're being made to feel inferior.
They should make you feel, you're in the wrong room then.
That's it, You should be made to feel inferior. You should be empowered and, to be...
Yes, and supported.
Yeah.
So, Girl Boss's mentality, our like tagline is positivity, empowerment and support. That's it.
Yeah.
So like, people say, oh, I don't think I'm a businesswoman enough to come. You haven't got to have a business to come. All you got to want to do is self-development. Because you apply any business development yourself for self-development. Literally any strategy in the world, but instead of to a business to a person, you level it up.
And you are a business as well. Well, certainly you are a business, but you are your business.
You're a brand.
You are a brand, but you are your own business. So whatever business you set up is an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've realised is, when I'm setting up a business, if you're learning as you go along. Yeah. But that business is an extension of yourself. Like 100%. You have set that up for a specific reason, and I think that's especially why it's important to make sure that that business resonates with who you are as a person and your values. So like all of the stuff that you're doing now is very much aligned with your values as a person and what the world you wish to create. And I've done that so many times where I've set up businesses or got involved in stuff. It's
not aligned with you. You're not in alignment.
No, and you feel that as well. I think.
And you're being inauthentic then on you. Yeah. So like, I always felt the need to tone myself down. We talk all my life. Talk too much, be quiet, Emily. Emily, be quiet. Like, stop talking too much. Like, apply yourself. Like, that is part of who I am, but that is part of what I want to create. Like, I like the fact that you can come and have a chat and in all aspects, like that human connection again, that building of a community, that building of a support network. So my coach, Cora, like, actually worth their weight in gold, like would just challenge me on it. Why are you fighting it so much? Why are you fighting being yourself so much? What's that bringing up for you? And you're like, stop asking me all this question. I don't pay you for this. Just blindly support kindly support me and tell me I'm right. But it's like, why are you battling with yourself? Like, you know, I'm not for everyone, no one is. If, like, I asked you a question, you know, nobody likes or resonates or gels with or gets good vibes from every single person they meet. You're going to have different opinions, different whatever. But if I'm not being myself, I'm putting myself out there and saying, this is who I am, and I'd like to meet more people who not are the same as me, because that's nonsense. Why would you? But who have got the same sort of mindset, morals, or want the same things, or I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to make carbon copies of myself, because I probably wouldn't like
no,
them.
that's it. You want to,
crash.
Yeah, you want to build people up to be their own person, or to empower them to be their own person. And I think that's the problem with the society we live in today. Is, you know, there's so much focus on, you know, on what you should become as a, like, so for example, like the, you know, Instagram influencers.
Yeah.
It's seen as...
They're all a carbon copy of each other.
Yeah, they're carbon copy of each other, and they seem to be having this unbelievable life where, and you look at them and you think they must be really, really rich because they've got 150,000 followers on Instagram, you know, but there was something that was published in one of the newspapers quite recently, that one of those influencers who had a massive following was actually, like, like skint, you know what I mean? They were like living with their parents or something, like, you know, and that's something that James Smith talks about as it happens with his, you know, with his content. Like he said, like, he had, I think, like 100,000 followers or whatever, and he was still like no better for it financially. I think it doesn't
translate. It doesn't translate. Yeah, it doesn't, and it's false, isn't it? It's not your. And when you start measuring your worth by these metrics, if you take all that away, who are you?
Yeah, this is it. I know, when you strip it back, and that's the thing, a lot of people can't answer it. A lot of people can't answer it because it's almost like I think you mentioned something about like an onion earlier on, but like in layers of the onion, you know, we wrap so much of the layers around ourselves under a false perception or false base.
To protect us or to play to our ego or to whatever.
Or just the social groups we're in and stuff like that. Like you said, I suppose that's it is the ego then, because you're trying to be something you're not, and you're wrapping the layers up. So like that could be involving, you know, I don't know, let's say getting a house or doing things that aren't aligned with you, like, you know, who you are as a person. So somebody, if you are like a traveller, naturally, you might feel pressurised by the people you're around and your family and stuff to go and get a house and to get a mortgage and to get a, you know, full-time job. When really what you want to do is be an artist and sell art or whatever, or just do it and then go travelling or something like that. And I think what you're doing then is, based on your circumstances, you're putting layers on top of the onion almost. Yeah. And I think when you, like you said, when you ask big questions or get asked big questions, then like, who are you
without
really?
That. Without that.
Yeah, you strip it back. It's like it can be really frightening for
people.
Yeah.
It's scary, and it is. So like, I did a post on Instagram the other day about like success by numbers, I called it. Yeah. So like, me and my partner don't have children, whereas, you know, most people our age, I don't know, are thinking about it or whatever. Like, we haven't discussed it at length. We're getting married next year, etc., etc. But everyone's like, oh my god, you don't want to be like too late? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
what is too late?
Like, or, you know, we've just moved into our house now. We just got engaged this year after 5 years being together. It's like, God, it's a long time, you know, 5 years. And I was just like, is it? Like, according to who and whose watch and whose clock? Whose ruler are you measuring my success with?
And that's an interesting one. Success in itself. Like, every person's vision of success is it's very subjective, isn't it? You know, that each individual will define success. I was going to say sex then. Define success.
One definition of that.
They'll define success individually, and, you know, based on how they perceive the world. So somebody could see success as having £1 million in the bank, whereas somebody else will see success as, you know, waking up and doing something that they love every day. And I think that's why it's important to realise that the metrics that we are seeing success as are all wrong, realistically. Not us, like, you know, like a lot of people do see it differently, but typically what society tells us is success, you know, and glamorises
earns money for the man, and, you know, it's all capitalism success, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the people who are driving the Ferraris and running businesses and stuff like that.
But like, I've butted up with one of our friends regarding this, And you know, we've had a discussion, and then we both see each other's point of view. So like, because I run something called Girl Boss, I post very specific content for, like, same with you with your coaching Instagram. It's specific content for your target market, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's how that's perceived then. So like, I'm not saying that being self-employed is being better than employed. So I'm not saying that having children, not having children, having a partner, like, I'm not saying that either is better than the other, but it's what's for you and what you are choosing. And it's like, it's how that you can see someone else's opinion and not judge it, and not want to be right, or not want to be seen as a good person because you think them do this. But like, being self-employed for me, it suits me, and that's what I define as success to me.
Yeah, being able to do the things that you want to do, and making your own, essentially managing your own time, even though you're probably spending a lot more time on doing stuff.
But it's for myself. I'm happy to be stressed, knackered, skint right now. Like, COVID has absolutely, like, rinsed us. And we haven't had government help and all this that everyone thinks has been massive things being doled out. Like, if you fall between the cracks, you are on your own, mate.
Yeah,
like,
I've met a few people.
Yeah, like, you are on your, like, soz. Like, we'll take your tax off you, but you're not on it back in any way, shape or form. But it, like, to me now, I left a good, comfortable job. Like, that might look clean off to some people. Like, I probably give other people anxiety. Like, but to me, that risk was worth taking, because the worst thing in business could ever happen to me has already happened.
Yeah.
It weren't that bad. Well, I say it weren't that bad. That sounds really flippant. But like, I've bounced back from it.
I've realised this myself as well. The floor is never, it's never as far down as it seems when you're looking. When you're looking down, you know, and you think, you know what, like this is going to be the worst thing ever if this happens. And I think when you hit that ground floor, even if you fall below it sometimes, you kind of go, this is not bad, because I'm still alive.
It's a bit of a trampoline more than anything.
Yeah, it is. You know, you get there and you think, do you know what? Actually, I feel really, almost free to a certain extent to go, do you know what? Actually, I've got lessons to learn here. I'm going to figure out what they are. And
when I say that to people normally, they just like, what? Going bankrupt and being mentally ill was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Retrospectively. Like,
at the time, you know.
At the time, I was like, well, this is shit. Like, now I'm just like, no, like, you know, it's given me tons of self-awareness, empathy, but like, in that moment, I was like, well, can't really see a way out of this, probably call it a day then. But that, and the ability to have humour about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, you gotta laugh in the face of adversity. Like, what is your other option? Like, I'm a psych nurse. Like, we got some of the darkest humour going. Like, some of the things I've heard, in like wards, and you're like, oh, because that's how you cope. We see in you terrible things, and you know, as long as it's not at the expense of a person, you have to just make some jokes sometimes, you know, at self-expense more than anything, just to get through the day.
It is, because I think what you do when you make that kind of like the dark humour essentially is you're dissociating from the situation a little bit. So
facing how bad it is, because you're laughing at it. It's comedy and tragedy in it. Like you've got to find like the good, and you've got to find the humour, because what is your other option when you live in something so terrible? But yeah,
what would you say, you know, like you said when you had your breakdown and stuff like that, what would you say is the key thing that kind of brought you back essentially?
Family support. 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
so essentially connection. In general,
I can't even. My parents are actually, imagine parenting me, right? Like, my parents are just more supportive than I deserve.
Yeah.
Like, when I went bankrupt, then my dad bankrupt as well.
Right.
They nearly lost it all.
Yeah.
Like, all of it. The stress, family support, however that looks, however that looks to anyone. To me, that was my parents, my grandparents, bless them. My dad's parents passed away sadly this year, within a year of each other. It was awful for my dad, but like, yeah, my parents, my brother, and just like my long-standing friend who's a Scouser and will find humour in anything, as they all do. But just that, whatever your support network looks like. So second year of my degree, I did start to dip back down again, depression. I went back on antidepressants, and my partner dragged me through it 100%. Closely followed by purpose. Everybody needs a purpose. I can't even
emphasize.
I can't put the words, no matter how that looks. So if your purpose in life is feeding your dog every day, or if your purpose in life is like looking after your kids, whatever. So my purpose, after being like, oh, woe is me, is very dramatic. Like, no one had ever been as depressed as I was. Like, no one could possibly have felt as bad as I did. So I like took to my sofa for months. So like my purpose then, I watched the Hairy Bikers, they were cooking for old people, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. No care experience, just applied for a job, got it, something like 6 hours a week. Just went and was like chatting away to these elderly people. Nothing will bring you out of depression and like first world privilege, I guess, than talking to people at the end of their lives. Because I was 23, thought my life was over, and then you're talking to someone in their 90s with dementia, or like with like MS, or like with these really horrific like life-changing chronic illnesses, Parkinson's, just, and they're finding joy in their life. And at 23, I was like, oh, woe is me.
It's a matter of perspective, isn't it?
Perspective. And I am absolutely not minimising depression. Like, it was horrific. Like, my first breakdown, my second one, but a little bit of perspective. Just shifting that lens. Just, I had like an actual epiphany. I was just like, oh my God, I need to sort my head out. Like, I went and used medication for like 6 months, 8 months, something like that. I like made sure I walked the dog every day, made sure I maintained my connections, because I just went into my shell. Like, I cut everyone off. I just went, whoop, like,
that's what's dangerous.
So dangerous.
I've picked up on, you know, if anyone I know, I see or hear is like
going
off
into
social
themselves,
media, I notice it now, and I'll say, is everything right?
Yeah,
you know, chat. Do you know what I mean? And you know, a lot of the time they go, yeah, you know, everything's fine. Yeah, I'm just going off because blah 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 blah. You know, one of my close friends did it the other day, and I say, like, you know, what's happening? You know, is everything right? And
you know, two people out there.
You know, and a lot of the time, sometimes it is you know, people just need a break, but you know, it can be the start of something, and I think it's just you know, it's just recognizing.
It's a good indicator. But like, this is my natural personality. Like, this is my baseline. Like, I'll chat to the woman in Aldi's. Like I am a chatty cat. This is who I am. So, but when you are as I say extroverted, I am and I aren't. Like, I do get anxious, and I do like time by myself and quiet time. So when I'm selectively extroverted, and I am loud, do you know what I mean? From Penn Man, I can't hide that. So when I dip to like 95% out of 100, it's very noticeable. So, but if someone's already quite quiet and they dip to 90, 80, 70%,
it's difficult.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, I could phone my dad and be like, hello, and he's like, oh my God, what's that? Like, I can have a bad day, and my parents are ready to take me back up the kite. Like, because it was so frightening for them, and I'm not minimising it. It was really scary. It was scary for me, it was scary for everyone who witnessed it, and it's left an imprint on them that they think a bad day equals another nervous breakdown, you know what I mean? So I get that they're on high alert. So yeah, it's keeping an eye on your friends and just asking, are you alright? And asking them twice, are you okay? Are you sure you're right? Let's have a conversation.
The words are like very important as well, aren't they? The words that people use. You know, and I think it's being it's difficult, but it's picking up on when people use certain words or terms. Tone, mannerism,
body language, like, you know, I could talk all day. I love assessing people. That's what I do with Empower. I go out and I assess clients, and I'm looking for all, you know, every indicator. but it's when they are withdrawing. So
Yeah.
like being mentally well or coming back from mental illness for me was connection and purpose, like every day. And it could be anything.
I think once you've got purpose, you have direction in life, and I think it's we're all chopping around trying to do this and that and whatever, and we've got everybody's got loads of different elements to their life. Do you know what I mean? So you've got family, you've got your your work, you've got things responsibilities that you might have to do, you've got social life, you've got all these things you're trying to juggle, but I think this is why you spend so much time in work, and if your work is meaningful and purposeful,
don't feel like work. Don't feel like work.
No, it feels like it
fills you up instead of drains you.
Yes, this is it. You need to have something that really drives you forward and empowers you in all areas of your life, and this is kind of this is why I'm doing the coaching and stuff like that. That is the kind of stuff which a lot of people have said to me over the years, like, you need to be doing this kind of stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that I like, and I've worked in it to a different capacity. So like when you mentioned there about when you went to went to work with older people, and you almost reflected back on yourself then and thought, well, actually, these are people who are still finding joy at the end of their life. I went to work after the first business failed and stuff like that. I was in a bit of a depressive state of mind for a while through that. But I won't say I say depressive state of mind because I won't label it as depression, because I know that. Like when you describe your experience, I was never at that stage. And then when I went to work in the sector, so I worked with people with substance misuse and mental health. I seen people who couldn't leave their house. Like one of my clients was a guy who wouldn't leave his house. He was agoraphobic. He was severely anxious and depressed. It was when I saw that, I was like, fuck. What I experienced was nothing in comparison to what this person's experiencing.
Yeah, but I don't like that comparing though, right? See?
Yeah.
Like saying, I get it. Like,
I know
you had it worse or whatever. Like, but that's your experience. If you were in a depressive state of mind, then it was difficult for you, and you were grieving the loss of your business, and you were feeling you didn't have no purpose, that's painful for you there and there.
Yes.
When you say, okay, like, and I know I said a little bit about looking at them and that shifted my mindset, but saying you don't deserve to feel depressed.
Yeah. Oh no.
Because other people have it worse. It's like saying you don't deserve to feel happy because other people have it better. So like, it's all like, I always get subjective and objective mixed up. It's all like each to their own, innit? You can't compare. You can't compare your experience to someone else's. I know what you're saying, it's exactly the same. When I've looked at that person in that bed and gone, oh my god, what have I got to complain about? Yeah. It does help. It gives you perspective.
That's it. It gives you perspective, and I think that's what I took from it. It's like it didn't like lessen the experience I went through, but it gave me a different perspective on it to think, do you know what, actually. And it gave me gratitude, which was a big thing.
Yes.
It gave me the gratitude to think, do you know what, I'm really grateful. That obviously, like, you see somebody in that situation, it is horrible, and you do want to help them. But when I looked at my own life, then it gave me the ability to be grateful. For my state of mind, how I am, and also how I'm able to interpret things, make sense of things in different ways, which allows me to have a healthier mindset or healthier mental health. Than a lot of people have, which is...
So, gratitude and understanding, or not understanding, because no one understands, or trying to understand or see things differently. So, when I was really young, like, I'm going to work, I was going to the library, going to Penryn Library, because I was staying with my parents. I was going to Penryn Library, and the librarian, Jodie, she's a gorgeous woman, lovely, like, beautiful soul, just went, I think you'd like this book. This will help. And she gave it to, it was The Secret. And so I went home and I was reading it and I was like, this is a lot of like whatever, like, and then I was like, okay, whatever, like, try and get into it. And then I was like, well, no, it does start to make sense to me. Like, if you look for good, you'll find good. And like, so my other half's like, why do you need to be told that? Because he's the most naturally positive, optimistic, like, that's how he thinks. Yeah. That is 100% how he thinks. Why would you want to be anything but happy? All right, thank you. Like he just, that's how
that's his default mode.
That's his default. That's his absolute default. Well, why would you look for the bad? Why would you focus on the bad? So if you focus on the good, the good gets better. Like, Why do you need a book to read that, to do that?
But you say that to somebody who's in a depressive state of mind or something, and it's impossible
Yeah.
to almost figure out how you look at things that way,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, I used to be really pessimistic.
Yeah.
I mean, believe it or not.
Like, yeah, same, like, when I was in that mindset. So, like, I read The Secret, blah, blah, I got into it. And then I just literally started writing every day what I was grateful for. And, like, and not just being like, I'm going to feeling it.
Yeah.
I am so grateful, you know, for this beautiful flat that I live in. I'm so grateful. So my little dog Maisie's 11, so she's been through every up and down. I'm so grateful I get to walk Maisie every day. And like, even after my BAMP pass this year, like, literally, like, I worship the ground he walked on. I, like, his total biggest fan. And, like, obviously, like I embraced the grief. I felt it. I didn't want to be, like, toxically positive, which is something that just wrecks me. Like, you've got to feel all the spectrum of human emotions to be human. You can't just go and flip back into it. But I wrote in my gratitude journal saying, I'm so grateful that I got my Bampy until I was 29. I'm so grateful that, you know, we had such a lovely relationship and la la la, and kept going and kept going. I get a little bit emotional and just kept going, because he wouldn't want me to be super sad for ages. And like, I get upset, of course I do, like, especially when I talk to my dad and stuff about him, or like, you know, you just, like, a memory pops up and you just think, oh, he's not there anymore. Yeah. But it was just that, like, even in the worst thing that the worst I've ever felt, like losing him, I could try and find the positives. I'm like, not the positives in his death, like in his life.
Yes, yeah, not so much the lessons, I suppose, but yeah, like you're grateful for the things that you learned from them, or that happened, the experiences that you shared with them.
Yeah, just like how lucky am I?
Yeah.
That at 29 I had all four of my, like, how lucky am I?
Yeah.
How lucky, do you know what I mean? And just keep that, and you know, how blessed am I to have come from this amazing family that wanted me to do well, and then, you know, we've moved now into a house that I just can't even, like, I can't believe I live there. Like, I wake up and I can't believe I live there. So I've gone from a council flat to living in a farmhouse on an acre in 5 years, and like, we couldn't have got that without the money my BAMP had left me. When I look at it, I'm like, oh, thank you so much, Nan and BAMP. Thank you so much for look at what we've got. Like, my grandparents grew up in one room. Their heads would fall off if they could see that. Yeah. Like, in 2 generations, we've gone from struggling to, like,
doing all right,
thriving. Thriving. Not, you know, and I don't mean like loads of money in the bank, because that is not true right now. But just like that lack to, like, that abundance mentality.
And that's essentially what you're doing when you practice any form of gratitude. And I think I put a post up on the coaching Instagram about this the other day, is when you're practicing gratitude, and like you said, right, when you're feeling it, you know, and I think that's something I struggle with, actually. But, you know, like, if you actually you practice gratitude regularly, you're focusing on essentially the abundance that you have and not the lack thereof.
Yeah.
And I think when there's a focus on the lack thereof, it's a very big flip, do you know what I mean? Because, like, when you're focusing on what you haven't got in any form of life, you know, whether it's the lack thereof in the partner that you're with, or the lack thereof in terms of, you know, your financial situation, or the lack thereof in terms of what you want from your role, or, you know, for yourself, you know, you're always in that, you know, that, not, well, whatever the opposite of abundance is, do you know what I mean? A lack of, do you know what I mean? But when you, like you said, you're being grateful, you're counting your blessings, you know, you're all of a sudden you're focusing on, you're essentially, what you're doing is changing a paradigm. And I know he talks about this in The Secret, or whatever his name is. Yeah. You know, it's changing the paradigm, you know, of how you see the world and how you feel about it. And I think that is so important to do that. And just last point of gratitude is, well, I used to struggle with it. I used to write generic stuff, right? I used to read the
roof over my head.
Really generic. I wasn't feeling it. Still getting better. You know, getting more used to that. But what I found helpful when I was doing it is the really small stuff. So, you know, for example, if I'd just been down the beach and seen the sunset, and I'd been, you know, on a paddleboard at sunset, you know, the water just kind of trickling, you know, the very, very specific moments which are, you know, only going to be felt by you. That's the ones that I find you need to put down as being grateful for.
For sure, because that's all that life is, isn't it? it's moments.
Mhm.
Moments.
Yeah.
That's all their life is. But like, I always like the sea. So when I was ill, I used to go and my parents would be like, please don't go to the cliff. So I used to go and like sit on a bench on the edge of the cliff at high tide and just look out to the sea and just be like, the world is so massive, the universe is so massive, I'm small, therefore
My
problems are small. But I think what people can't get on board with law of attraction and The Secret is like, it's a bit hippie woo woo, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like, all you're doing is changing your thinking patterns.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, right back down, it's just CBT. It's just taking something that you believe, and a belief is just a thought that you like having, so you keep having it, or that whether it's serving you or not, it's in you. It's been put in you as a child or by society or whatever, and it's in you. So you just changing it. You're just looking, okay, so this thought, this cognition is affecting my behaviour, which is affecting my actions. But I don't want to do that anymore. I'm stuck in this loop. So you challenge the thought, and you change it, and that's all that law of attraction is really. On like a black and white level, you know, people play with it and do amazing things. I'm not saying, but I think if you were explaining it to someone who was like a skeptic, you just,
it comes across as woo woo.
oh my god, for sure. Like, my other half's literally just like, oh my god, yeah, she goes with a hippie nonsense again, and I'm like, but like, it's just slowing it down and just like, you know, meditating and acknowledging your thoughts and just being like, okay, I don't want to think that, because just because you think it doesn't mean it's true.
And do you know what? There's, I think it's quite this is why I think it's a difficult concept to grasp, because I think it's the psychologist Alan Watts, where I think I might not do it justice, but you can read it up online. It's something like when you focus, I think he calls it the opposites paradox or something like that. Is it? You might be more familiar with this. But when you're focusing on gaining money, for example, you're actually inadvertently attracting less money into your life, because you're focusing on, you're essentially trying to get more, which means you haven't got enough. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what you do.
Thank you for all my money, and then more flows. Then
when you're focusing on the abundance, you're saying, I have enough, I have more than I'll ever need, and I'm thankful for it, you know, and whatever. It's like, you know, you're, like you said, you're changing your paradigm and your thinking, your thought process to, you know, I've got enough, and then more just naturally flows to you. And I think this is where the saying comes from: money gets money, or money goes to money.
Because you're not coming from a lack mentality at all.
Spot on.
Yeah, for sure. Money goes to money. No, but then even that's reinforcing it. So I'm thinking, oh, well, I haven't got money, so I'm never going to act. So it just, you've got to be careful what you think and what you're putting out there. Wherever you think that's just putting it in your mind and you're hearing it back, you know, you've got to be careful what you listen to in yourself, isn't it? And what you're putting out there into the universe or into the world as vibes or whatever, you know. If you're going about like, oh, people are horrible, well, your body language is already giving that off, so people aren't going to be kind and nice to you then, do you know what I mean? You're putting that out there.
Have you read the Good Vibes, Good Life book?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of it now. It's really good.
Same.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm halfway through it and I love it.
Yeah.
It's literally what you said, but there, it's just if you're putting out, you know, a certain type of vibe, you know, you will find people that are naturally on that vibe as well, whether it's positive or negative.
The tracks, like.
Yeah, spot on. It's it is just it's a bit of a dangerous one, that is, because like you said, if you're in a really negative state of mind, more will happen. Like my father is an example of this. You know, he'll be in a negative frame of mind, but then he'll go to walk in the bank, for example. This happened during COVID. So something happened in the morning, he was pissed off or whatever. He went to walk in the bank, and then they weren't letting people in, you know, because they didn't have enough cashiers. The cashiers were on break and this and that, and you know, you had to wait outside or something along those lines, right? It was a bit of an inconvenience, if you like. And you know, you end up having an argument with the guy on the door, you know, just something like that. Because
his back is already full. So like, I've had a bit of a mare today, and just in general, in life currently, and everything. Are you okay? Because like, individually, lots of things are going on, and lots of things are going wrong, in inverted, or not as I wanted them to go.
Yeah.
But I can't control it. So on the way here, I had like a chat with my coach, Cora, and I was just like, right, reframe your mind now, like. But it's that ability to go, right, I don't want to be in this mood. Like, I don't want to. When you're well, I'm not saying this is how you are when you're ill. it's when you're well and you're moving away from, or when you're in a good place, a positive place, and you're moving away from, to pull yourself back. This mood is not serving me. Like being stressed or being opinionated or being argumentative, it's not serving me. Like I don't want to. Like why would I want to be in that headspace? What can I do to bring myself back? And that's all like self-care thing has all been overrun by like beauty industry now. So like self-care is like bubble bath and a face mask. It's not like self-care is like having that little chat with yourself, taking a couple of deep breaths, bringing yourself back. Right, is this serving me? Where do I want to be? How am I going to get there? Like I need to shift how I'm seeing things, how I'm thinking about things. That's self-care.
Do you know what? I love that you've actually said that, because I've never even thought about that. You do see people put things up on Instagram
Hashtag
like
self-care.
Yeah, self-care when they're in the bath or they're having a face mask or something like that. And I think, okay, that's good because you're taking time for yourself and, you know, you're relaxing and you're getting into that
It's been
sort of
monetised
relaxing
though,
state.
right?
Exactly, yeah. It's been monetised, it's been, you know,
It's been feminized.
Yeah.
So like your self-care is just going, like for me, self-care is having better boundaries. Going, I'd love to, but I can't. Can we do it a different, like, I cancelled on you the other week because I had a hell of a day.
How dare.
I know, can't believe I'm here. No, like because I had like a really like hectic morning in work, and I just thought I'm not going to show up as my best self. And like I don't want to do you an injustice, do the topics an injustice by turning up and not
fully
being not being fully
yeah.
present. There was a shitstorm going on, and I couldn't, you know, I had to sort it. Because you know it just falls to you as directors sometimes. You are, you know, it's not, you know, you haven't caused it, but you've got to sort it, you know.
Going on that as well, actually, how do you, so obviously the stuff that you're doing right now, so it's Empower Support, which you're running, you've got Girl Boss Club, and you're still working, you know, is it just Empower Support you're working in now, or are you still working in
so we've still got clinic as well, which is precision. So I do three
different
things.
How do you manage your time effectively to get things done, to keep yourself sane, to do life admin? Like, how do you manage your time? What do you find works for you?
I'll be flat up honest now. So like, if my business partner Kath heard that question, she would just be like, ha! Because she's just caused me calamity. Like I'm chaotic as a person. Like it's why we work well together. So every good business partnership or every good business person has in them engine and brakes.
Right.
I haven't got brakes in me.
Okay, yeah.
Right? I haven't. So like Kath is my brakes. So I'm the engine and I get everything started and I'm like, woof, 100 miles an hour, let's do it. Here's the idea. And then she's the brakes, like, how are we going to execute this idea? Have you thought about the risk, the benefit? No. Like, so she slows me down. How it comes to managing my time, everyone says to me, how do you do it all? I don't. I don't believe anything you see on Instagram. I don't. Don't do it all. Like, nobody does it all. And so the team we have around us is amazing. So it's me, my fiance, my business, like 3 of us business partners, directors. We share that role between us. Like, because one person cannot do all that. We have an incredible manager on. We pay HR support. We pay for my life admin. I literally the other week paid Madmin, like a VA, to do all my change of address stuff, to change my life. Like farm that shit out. I have not got room in my head for that, right?
That's what I mean. That's.
I have not got room. But a lot of people would be like, "Oh, thanks, I'm amazing." No, be honest. Like,
yeah, I'm glad you said that, because actually, loads of people ask me this question as well. Right? They'll see the stuff that I'm putting on Instagram, and going back to what you said, I think we were talking about earlier on. I like to try and, like, the stuff I'm putting on Instagram, like, you know, I'm down the beach, I'm surfing, I'm doing this and that, whatever. Like, to be honest, that's not a lie. You know, if I'm having a shit day or something, generally I'll put something up then, you know, like if I've gone for a run and I'll say, you know, I've been having a shit day, I've gone for a run, now I feel much better.
And this has helped.
So I'll try and keep it as transparent as possible. But, you know, like, people do say to me, like, how do you manage your time effectively? How do you do all of the things that you're doing? But then, what, you know, the people who know me know quite well, will know that I'm late to everything.
Oh, yeah, I'm constantly running late, and it's
Always
really
late.
rude.
Yeah.
It's really rude,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like my other half literally will scream at me like, Fender, it's like we're, and I'm like, time is like, I've said time doesn't exist. Time is a human construct. Like I say,
I'm exactly the same.
Time
yeah.
is a human
Exactly the same.
construct. Blah blah. But like, I can be on time if it like needs to be. But if someone's like, oh, should we go about 2ish? Like.
Yeah, you know, and you try and structure everything around it then, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm exactly the same. And somebody said to me, like, you know, this resonated
A nice watch
with me a little
there,
bit.
though, right?
It doesn't work, actually. It does. You know, it
That's
works.
why you're late all the time.
You know, it works, right? But then it keeps stopping all the time. So, like, this says 12:30, right? But it's still ticking. So, but then I'll change it back to whatever. And then it's yeah. So
That's why you're late all the time.
Yeah, this is just my ego. This is just running it. No, literally, like, people say it, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm like, I actually don't, you know, I get, you know, I do get to do all of these different things that I'm doing, but it's only because I'm probably turning up to late as shit, you know, because I'm, you know, maybe, like, when I should be doing life admin or whatever, do you know what I mean? Things like that, you know, I'm actually out surfing or whatever, do you know what I mean? So I'm probably not managing my time as effectively as I could be, but I am doing a load of stuff, and I'm making sure that one of my mottos, or one of my things about life is leave no stone unturned.
Yeah.
So I don't want to leave any stone unturned. Like, somebody says to me, like, oh, you know, we have to have a catch up, we'll have a coffee and stuff. The way I look at it is like, you know, a bit morbid almost, but it could be the last time I see that person. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
You
That's
know,
never been truer.
Yeah, it could be the last time I've seen a person. It could be, you know, the last time somebody sees me. It could be a really, you know, it could be a conversation that I need to have, or that person needs to have.
Yeah.
You know, you're never going to know the
Inquiring,
full extent of the words that you use, or the, you know, the words you speak to somebody else, or the actions that you take. And I just think that when opportunity presents itself, that it's good to take it up. And not all the time. I think, you know, it's good to be a yes person, but
Only if it serves you.
yeah, only if it serves you. And I think, and that's what I realised, is I was always a yes person, but then I realised I was giving away so much of myself that I was never saying no to things. And, you know, I do still struggle with this, but it's good to say no to things, but it is good to say yes. And I think that's probably why I'm getting as much done as, or doing as much shit as, you know, as I look to be, because I'm literally just saying yes to stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I hardly ever suggest plans. You know, if I'm going surfing, it's usually my mate saying, oh, when are we surfing this week? And I'll go,
Yeah.
every day. No, but, you know, or, you know, it's generally other people will say blah, 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 and then that's
You're
where
in. I'm in.
I'm in, yeah, you know, but then I've got to try and find the time for myself then, and the stuff that I specifically want to do or need to do.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
it's want and need. So stuff I want to do, I do. Stuff I need to do. So like, we have a cleaner.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just pay someone else to do the admin, because I'm just not an organised person. I'm just not. So team around me, pay other people to do the shit you don't want to do, and just play to your strengths.
Yeah.
So like, in our business, my strength is going out networking, speaking to, you know, getting clients in, social media, branding, presence. My business partner's strengths are organisation, paperwork, making sure I don't like do anything wrong, like doing actual things.
Yeah.
So like, play to your strengths and get other people on the payroll who can fill in the gaps. Like, you can't be everything to all things. You can't do it all. No one can. And I think this is where a lot of people burn out. So Cora, my coach, is a burnout coach.
Yeah.
And I think that when I had my breakdown, it's because I completely burnt myself out. I was working ridiculous hours for no money. And I was just trying to please all the people all the time. So I, like, some weeks we were paying the staff and not paying me, not paying the electric, just trying to like please everybody. Didn't want to drop people's hours, and you're just trying to keep all these plates spinning. And I think this have it all, rise and grind, like hashtag entrepreneur, like no sleep, no rest for the wicked, or sleep when you're whatever nonsense.
It's a fallacy.
Is perpetuated, you know. So what I've worked on with Cora is nothing worth having comes easy.
Yeah.
We've all heard that.
What was this? Sorry,
Nothing worth having
comes
comes easy. Why? Why doesn't it come easy? Why can't it feel nice and good, and the process and the journey, why can't you enjoy it and celebrate your wins? Because I'm murder for being the next. Achieve this, right? Okay.
What's next?
Yeah. Whoa! Stop and celebrate what you've just done. And it just burns people out. Like this whole, you got to do it all. Like, have you? Have you got to do it all? And I played into it. I played into it with, like, you know, the very nature of Girl Boss Club. It's elevating, and it's saying, you know, yeah, you're a boss, you're doing this, you're doing that. But it's also like, I'm really open and vulnerable and put it out there, and I'll be like, I'm so stressed, I can't do it, blah blah blah. And it's showing that part of yourself and giving other people permission to say, I'm struggling too. This is hard.
Do you know what, that's what I love about the authenticity of it, isn't it? You know, that's so important in life.
What else are you going to be if you're not yourself?
Yeah, 100%.
What else are you going to be?
So have you, with Girl Boss Club, because we've had this conversation before, you've had negative feedback to it, haven't you? You've had obviously so much positive feedback, which I've seen, but I remember you telling me before that you had some negative feedback or something from it, wasn't it? So I get accused of being sexist. Yeah.
Like, I love men. I'm engaged to one. My dad's a man. Like,
Yeah.
I love men. Like, it's not a gender thing. So, like, I'm comfortable talking with you now. But, like, if you're not confident or comfortable in yourself, or feel belittled by white straight men in suits, like, you know, middle class, like, I'm a businessman. Like, it's difficult to, like, be in that environment if you're feeling like... So, a prime example of this, little tangent. The beauty industry was overlooked with all the lockdown restrictions going back. We couldn't open clinic for months after. Like, I remember going to Clean Clinic because we thought that we were going to be allowed to open back up. And then it was like, Soz, you can't. And I was driving home and I drove past a pub and it was bouncing. And I was like... I'm a nurse, I'm not allowed to open my business, the pubs are bouncing. Because the beauty industry was just looked over by, you know, men making the rules. Yeah. So it was looked over at, like, being, like, fluffy or, like,
non-essential.
Non-essential.
Not that a pub is essential.
Pub's essential, though. And I'm not thinking pubs, but, you know. Yeah. So it's looked over non-essential. So I did a little bit of digging. Either 81 or 89. In the £80 billion a year revenue is cultivated by the beauty and self-care industry, which is like 98% women. Yeah. So that is a huge proportion of the UK, you know, economy. Huge, massive. And, like, it's good for your mental health. You have that connection, that oh my God, when my clients tell me when they come for their treatments, like, you go for a barbers, like,
I've said this
times a million though with women. So I wanted to create a space where women could come just as they are. Like, I've turned up to Girl Boss late to my own event in my nurse scrubs, like, oh my God, I'm sorry girls, I'm late, ward was clean off, run to the toilets down there, quickly got changed, come up, no makeup, and everyone was just like, oh, okay. They could just be themselves then. Whereas you can come in, you haven't got to put on, like, a facade. You can stand up and be like, do you know what? Like, I'm really struggling with this, or, like, it's really impacting me, or, like, looking after my kids, or doing all this emotional labour and running my household and my business is really difficult. Yeah. And I think generally in a room of, like, mixed gender or predominantly men, that's too emotional. Oh my God, women are so emotional. How do we possibly run a business? But, you know, I wanted to create a safe space, and, like, that women felt safe. And I'm not tarring men as, like, predatory or anything, but, like, you've done this yourselves as well, mind. Like, that you can't be vulnerable with your emotions because you'll be looked on as weak. So I wanted to create a space where women could come together. But yeah, I've been called sexist, and, you know, you look back historically, everything's been male dominated, everything. Like, one boy wrote on like a status I shared, like, what, where's the boy boss club? And one of the girls commented, like, the whole fucking world is boy boss club. Let us have this.
Yeah, I think that was the one you referred to, actually. So I think when we spoke about it, you didn't. I'm sure you mentioned that. I think it had recently happened.
Yeah,
when
it
you
just
mentioned
buckled
it.
me.
Yeah.
Mate, you've got the rest of the world. Can we just have this little room in Brewstones once a month, please? But like the community, the good outweighs the bad. You could literally cure cancer and someone would have something to say about it.
This is the thing, and the internet has amplified that as well, because it gives everybody a voice.
Just an echo chamber.
But
Nonsense.
it doesn't, and it doesn't give. There's not a lot of consequences for what you say online as well.
I have huge opinions on this.
Yeah,
Shock.
that's the trouble, and I think there's so. Yeah, that's why online bullying has gone through the roof. Along with everything else, and I think what people talk about, like for example with celebrities now, when everybody says like Caroline Flack, when she committed suicide, it was like everybody
Hashtag
gotta
be kind.
Yeah, be kind and things like that. But then they will tear down politics. Like, not that I'm a fan of politicians or politics in general, but I think we fail to remember that they are human, and it's quick. People are quick to.
Are they?
Questionable. But yeah, people will tear them down and be very personal about them to a certain extent, as well as other celebrities, like celebrities in general and stuff like that. But we just tend, as a society, we just tend to forget, be kind
There's
1 minute,
real life
but then when there's
consequences.
something, that the media make, funny about somebody's life, like a celebrity's life, they are failing to remember, and also the people who are absorbing it and sharing it and laughing about it are failing to remember that person is going through something in like a mental battle, because of what content has been put out about them, and that's true not just celebrities and people in the limelight, but people on a day-to-day basis as well. Like,
for sure. I had a terrible time with MSN when I was younger. So like I would get bullied in school and then go home, and then like other people. So like, and with comments on my Facebook, my Instagram, I think, would you say that to my face? Would you have the bottle and the backbone to be like, this is what I think, or are you a keyboard warrior? Like it still has the same amount of consequences and impact, but you are hiding behind a computer screen. I literally think you should be able to. They shouldn't be having like trolls. You should prove who you are to be able to have an account. But I will just pick you up on the little thing you just said about politics. So you've gone, I'm not into that. I'm not into politics. I don't like it. No, that's a privilege to be able to say, isn't it? That's like. So I said something the other week about I don't have an opinion on things anymore. I don't want to get involved in things anymore. Oh, we got spillage. You've only had one.
Stephen.
And one of a woman who had spoken at Girl Boss went, Emily, like, you were in a position of privilege to be able to say, I don't want to be involved in these debates anymore, because the people that I am defending haven't got a choice. They're involved. That's a choice that you're making, isn't it? As like a white male, like, I don't want to be involved in politics.
Yeah. Like, I suppose it's like, if you look at like, let's just use Africa as an example, where they've got, the governments are, nowhere near what the UK government is to a certain extent. You know what I mean? So the people have to kind of get involved with the politics there, because it directly affects their way of life. And I think what happens with the UK is we'll notice like that. Well, certain things will affect us. It'll affect certain people. But a lot of people who are just working for a company, they won't really see what, because there's so many different things going on behind the scenes. We won't really see the full extent of what those politicians are going to have on our lives to a certain extent. We just kind of go, it is what it is. One example of this is surfability. Yeah. So Ben Clifford, he was directly affected, from what I've heard, about by what happened with when the Conservatives, so Boris Johnson, came in. I think he cut some sort of funding, which is where they pulled their money from. But then he got the Pride of Britain award, and he got offered to go meet Boris Johnson, and apparently he said, I don't want to meet that disgusting man, because and to be fair, that takes a lot for somebody to do that, because
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
that's
That's sticking by your morals, not your ego, isn't
it's
it?
sticking by your morals. It's
Yeah.
not saying, I'm going to go meet this
I have a
person.
picture in front of number 10, yeah.
Exactly. He's gone, this guy has directly affected my life,
Yeah.
in a negative way, and so I'm not going to,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sacrifice my morals and my values. And I
Yeah.
think that, that is.
I got a lot of
important.
time and respect for that. A lot of time and respect. But I feel like I've got more respect for people who are like, it hasn't directly affected me, but I empathise and feel for the people it has affected, and I want to fight for change for them. Not just politically, like socially, like all of it. Like, we have to look out and empathise with people less fortunate than us, because we have to acknowledge our privilege. Like, me and you are both from Penland, like, my parents live in a council house, like, but I have got certain privileges that other people haven't got, and you've got to acknowledge it and use your voice. Because I tried to be like, I don't want to be opinionated anymore. I want to be zen and sit on my mountain and be like, but like,
there comes a time
there's
where
ways
you've got
of going
to
around
think,
it. I'm working on myself to, like, yes, I hold my opinions, which is just thought and what I think, innit, based on my morals and values, which is just whatever. But how do I encompass them without wronging someone else? Answers on a postcard, please.
I was going to say, one of the things you mentioned about that as well, it just reminded me, so when I was doing the Ultra a couple of weeks ago...
Oh, clean off.
Yeah,
You didn't even have shoes on, did you?
No,
Are you that hard up,
No.
right?
I
Should
done
I have a whip round for Ryan to have some shoes?
I know. No, I done a 10k barefoot, but then I did the 50 mile. I did have shoes on.
Oh, okay. Because that would be crazy.
When I was doing it though, there was a guy I seen. It was on Tor Bay. So it was like the far end of Oxford type thing. I was running through like a woodland area, but there, there was a guy walking past with his dog, and I was like, I'm making a fuss at the dog, and pardon me. He said, I was like, we do, mate, you having a good day? He said, he said, I've lost my bloody wallet. He said, I was down there, on the beach this morning. He said, I've just gone back to look for it, but he said, I can't find it. I said, no way. I was like, do you have much money in there or anything like that? He said, it was only a £5 note with a couple of cards. And he said, don't worry, it's a first world privilege anyway. He said, I can cancel the cards. And I went, it's kind of, he said it really blasé, and I was like, it struck me about the type of person he is, and then it also sat with me, because I thought, well, we lose our car keys, it costs us £100 sometimes, or 50 quid or whatever it is to replace them. You lose your wallet.
It's like nicer problems to have.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is actually really a first world problem. Like, if you lose your laptop, right, it's a shit sit. You go, oh my god, I've got so much stuff in it. But it's like, well, you were actually lucky enough to have a laptop in the first place.
Yeah.
You're lucky enough to have a job which pays you an income where you could actually go and buy another laptop. It might put you out for a little bit, but it's still a very first world problem.
Yeah.
And I think, doing that it's sometimes a tough pill to swallow, but it increases your positivity and your outlook on life and things like that, doesn't it? And that really, really sat with me, that did.
Yeah, and it's okay to experience negative emotions.
Yeah.
Like it's part of life. Like, you've got to allow it all. Like, there's no point in battling about it and trying to turn it too quick. Yeah. Because life can turn on a penny, like, can't it? It can be up and down and up and down.
100%.
Like, I think the last few months of Corona Coaster has like shown everybody it can just be like you're up and down, and
also your plans, what you plan to have
100%.
It's never going to pan out, so I think it's good to have, and I think this is why a lot of people are struggling, because they've had holidays booked, they've had different things on.
and you think again.
Yeah, you've got to leave room for shit happens, and just
of course
and
it
just,
does.
and
it is what it is, like, isn't it? Like, what's that saying? Like, you want to make God laugh, like, show him your plans, like, like you can't plan life. You could have like goals, but it's but to try and turn it and be like fake positive, toxic. I'm not allowing myself to feel this grief, this hurt, this pain, this loss, this lack, this whatever. Like, you've got to sit from it, because that's what makes you resilient. That's what makes you robust. That's what makes you able to actually deal with what life gives you. Because it builds you resilience. It builds it. If you're lucky, it hardens you and it softens you, and it gives you this ability of coping. And I think that is a skill that a lot of people in the generations coming after us are not going to have. This coping skill, because, and I'm all for praising people up and whatever, but you have got to learn life lessons. You have got to lose a race. You have got to have things happen to you that make you resilient, because otherwise you're going to be what?
Yeah.
When things actually go
you're
wrong,
always going to be
then
expecting the best
the
situations,
best,
and
and
when
that's
something
not
comes to the
life.
contrary, it's going to affect you. And this is, you know what, this is what I've talked about comfort zones in some of the videos and stuff I put. Is like, you know, it's you've got to push yourself out of your comfort zone to a certain extent, especially if you haven't got hardship going on through your life. So I think when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you're temporarily and willingly putting yourself in uncomfortable situations in life, which force you to build a kind of a mental resilience. And to like one of the things me and my mate Lee, you know, we'd always talk about is we used to go running in the worst weather possible, you know, in the rain, in the cold, all that kind of stuff. And when you're doing it feels horrible, but after it you feel amazing, because you realize that you've gone and done something that a lot of people aren't doing. Like, people are going in favorable conditions, but when it comes to doing an ultra marathon or something, you're gonna have so much shit which comes up. Like, my knee went at 28 miles or something, you know, and it's you can't really plan for those things, but you can look at it and feel about it a different way if you put yourself through those, you know, those kind of resilience exercises beforehand, or if you've already been through a lot of shit in your life in your past, where you've got to pull upon those kind of lessons that you've learned you know, throughout that period. And I think that's it's 100%. You know, if you've been through shit, use it as a lesson.
Oh,
you know,
for sure.
You know, it's hard to see it at the time.
Retrospectively.
But, retrospectively. Are you familiar with Steve Jobs' quote, "Connecting the dots"?
Yeah.
So, you know, for people listening, you know, type it in: Steve Jobs Stanford commencement speech. Best speech I've ever heard.
Yeah,
you're
looking.
Yeah, can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back.
Yeah, for sure. And what, you know, it's like a boxing saying, isn't it? Like, train hard, fight easy. So, like, when I talked earlier about I know that it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I'm going to be fine. I know that I'm going to bounce back for this. I know that the business is going to be a success. Because it's been worse. And I know it can get better.
Yeah. You've seen where the floor is. You realise it's probably not as far down as it could be, and you know you can move forward with it.
For sure. It was like the floor, 100 feet of shit, me, and I still, what you go through, just it makes you see things differently, and I'm glad I did.
What would you say to you? Like, this is one of the questions I want to ask you just before we finish up. What would you say to your younger self?
Oh my God!
What would be the best piece of advice? Not necessarily for business, but just for in general. Like, what would be, you know, the advice you'd give to your younger self?
Let your ego go.
Yeah.
Let your ego go. Like, stop trying to control how people view you and be liked, and just get out of your own way and ask for support. And that's the advice I give my current self as well. Because your ego's can't always there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's there to, like, protect you or whatever and look after you.
But it gets in the way as well.
But it gets in the way, and, like, things happen, you know, like, that you can attach your worth to. But yeah, for my younger self, it's just stop caring so much what other people think, and let your ego go. Because I thought I was so cool, and I just weren't. No, it's just attaching too much worth to other people's opinion of you. Like, it's a bonus. Like, I'd hope that you'd leave you today being like, oh, I enjoyed my time with Emily. Like, she's a cool girl. Like, but like, it's a bonus if you like me.
Yeah.
But what is really important is if I like myself.
Yeah.
That's it. And I hated myself in my early 20s, and I tried to fill that void with all manner of things. But it just made things worse. So now I'm just like,
I am who I am.
I
accept who I am. And,
I am what I am.
And if they don't like me, fuck them.
Not even that last bit.
Yeah, not that.
Not even. I know that you were just joking, but like, not even that. I think we attach so much worth to, like, what other people think, and so, like, my business partner is like, nails this. She's like, if you wouldn't go to someone for advice, like, I value her opinion above most people's, because she's like the most honest person I've ever met. Like, black and white, cut and dry. Like, she just cuts me down, puts me in my place, and I need that because I get a bit like ahead of myself. She said my parents' opinions, and obviously my fiance's opinion, and like a few friends, where I literally go, what do you think? Can I have your input? Like, we've got a group chat, like, can I have your input on this? So if I wouldn't ask you and seek you out for your opinion, and if you're not living your most authentic life and really putting yourself out there, I am not interested in your feedback. I am not interested in what you have to say, and not in a big-headed, I think I'm better than you.
No, but
if I wouldn't
get
seek your opinion out and value it, and then change my behaviour accordingly, or be like, oh, okay, thanks for that feedback, I'm going to disregard it, or I'm going to do this.
Yeah, there's no point entertaining it in the first place. So,
no, because everyone's got massive opinions about things that they don't understand. So, like, if I wouldn't seek you out and ask you directly what you think about this, or what you think I should do, or life situation, business, whatever, or if my parents were like, you need to not do this, or you're making a fool of yourself, or really sit me down. When I was partying all the time, my father sat me down and he was like, what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing. Where do you think this is going to end?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that honest feedback.
Yeah, because there's somebody you respect. Yeah, and also they've been through whatever in life as well, so you can respect their opinion a lot more, isn't it? So
I'd say that that's the biggest lesson I've learned recently, is if you are not taking the risks that I'm taking, and if you're not on that journey, or if you're not, if you're only giving feedback to drag me down, not really interested in it.
I like that. And just lastly, for everybody listening, how do we get in touch with you? So with everything
my
you've got
number's
going on
everywhere. Like, honestly, my
so the
business
social
partner.
media accounts and whatever, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we're at Girl Boss Club.
Yeah.
At Empower Support. And just on Facebook, Emily Fender.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I would cheers you with my drink, but I haven't.
But you chucked it everywhere. Just cheers.
No, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to have conversations that you wouldn't normally have day to day, isn't it?
This is it.
Because everyone I already know is sick of this nonsense that I'm chatting. So it's nice to inflict it on a new person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
We're up for a surf next, look.
Oh yeah. Oof, I am dying.